what's up you guys? This is T. Julian here on Magic the Gathering Arena. Today I'd like to take a look at how to build a deck from scratch. I know many of you have probably used online platforms like Tapped Out or stuff like that from way back in the day when I played Magic for the first time. I use that to analyze my mana curve and my creature spells and things like that. And today I'd like to try to use some of the features in the Magic the Gathering arena to kind of do the same kind of thing. What I'm looking at here is the 10 decks that are given to me from when I first opened Magic the Gathering with this release. And then one that I've built already by myself, using very many of the same kind of cards you'd see in the Golgari Exploration deck. What I'd like to do is do a multicolor, probably sticking with a dinosaur deck today. Probably be doing a red-green, such as the Sun Empire, but I want to do one that's custom. I don't have any idea. I don't have a list of cards from the Sun Empire deck that's stock on here. So what I'm going to do instead is just act like I've never seen this deck before. And I'm going to go in to create a new deck. And we'll do red-green. And I'm going to be searching first for dinosaur cards so that I can create a cohesive deck that works all together. So let's first take a look at all of my creature dinosaur cards. I've got Raptor Hatchling. I'll go ahead and just add the ones that I find. And as you'll notice, as you add cards of a certain color or a certain mana type that needs to be used later when we see green ones, if I add a green one, it will have forest as well as mountain, and it will auto balance those for you. You can turn that off, but I do not recommend it, especially if this is your, if you're new to the deck building experience. If you're not, feel free to turn those off, or you can leave it and then change it later. You don't have to keep what is suggested here, but it will help you balance your mana draw. And as you notice, as you add cards, it will show you what you are putting in as far as cost. There's 1 mana cost. There are 1 that's 2 and 1 that's 3. So you've got those here. As you add mana, it will also show you the balance between mana and costs. So you'll see blue and red that are balanced here. So let's continue adding. I want to add some that have trample and haste. This is an uncommon, and this is a pretty awesome card. I'm going to want to keep some more of these in my deck. And I do have 4 uncommon wild cards. So I will click this again to add it to the deck, and it will ask if I want to use a wild card, and I say confirm. It will transform that into a charging Monstrosaur, and then I will add that to my deck, and that will no longer be a wild card. I now have 2 charging Monstrosaurs in my deck, and I have 1 fewer wild card. So you will need to be aware that if you add something as a wild card, you no longer have that wild card. I will want to add, going back to my deck here, I'm going to add an Otapec Huntmaster to reduce the cost. Search your library for a dinosaur card, reveal it and shuffle it to your library and put that card on top. So you notice when I search for dinosaur, it doesn't just use the creature type. It will also search the text of the card. So I'm using Forerunner of the Empire to use that ability. I'm going to need to find some more cards that have dinosaur activated abilities as well. It deals 5 damage to target creature. That's going to be great to have, so Enrage would be nice to have there. A lot of your dinosaur cards are going to have Enrage on here. So when you add what you think might be close to half of the creatures you're going to want, I would then go back to a new search and find Enrage, and maybe say Enraged creature, find a card that has an activated ability for Enrage. So we will add this. Let's add an Elder Dinosaur. Exile the top card of each player's library, then you may cast any number of non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. That's a pretty good, let's see, Burning Sun. A lot of these are going to be pretty big creatures, so I'm going to want to try to balance these out with some smaller casting. As long as I control the dinosaur, it gets +2/+2. That's going to be helpful, and it also gives me mana, which is helpful as well. Top 5 cards, rule a dinosaur or land, and put them in your hand. Yep, I'm going to need some of those. I need, let's see. So when you scroll on your mouse, if your mouse has a scroll wheel, it will change to the different page. So be careful that you're not scrolling too much. I would use the arrows just for convenience sake. You're going to want some control here. If you have something that keeps you from being able to use some of your abilities. A flash would be nice. I want to be able to play something as a quick response. Other dinosaurs you control get plus. I'm going to add another one of those because not only is it a 5/5, but it also gives my other ones +1. And if I have 2 of those on the battlefield, then that's going to help me a lot. Costs 2 less to cast if target dinosaur you control, and it gives you a +1 counter. That creature fights target creature you don't control. So those are going to be good to have as well. Again, I'm trying to keep my costs down so that I have more cards and less mountain or forests that I'm wasting space in my deck. I'm going to be adding some land search as well. So I'll maybe add 1 or 2 more, and then we'll go and look at our balance for lands and instants and sorcery. Reveal a dinosaur card and pay 1 basic land. Yep, so I wanted something like that. And that's an uncommon. I've only got 2 uncommons left. I'm going to save that, although it would be great to have another one of those. Right now it looks like I've got a pretty good balance so far. But I'm going to be adding some more things as well. Let's go to the next page and see what we've got here. Some red-green gold borders. Trample 5/5. Once again, I'm trying to find things that are working together using the same kind of creature type. And then that will help make it just an easy deck to start off with. You can fine-tune it as you need to, but I recommend using a keyword or a key idea to make your deck more cohesive. Each other creature. That does not say creature that your opponent controls, so you might want to be careful about that. Don't add that to having too many of your creatures have less than 2 or 3 toughness, because that will likely kill your creatures. Verdant Sun's Avatar, I'm definitely going to want one of those because it gives me life. For the toughness of the creature, which is dinosaurs are going to have naturally more toughness than other creature types. So I'm going to have a lot of that going on. Any target whenever it attacks, or Raging Swordtooth. Let's go there. Alright, so I'm going to try to then add some land search. So once again, I have filtered my red-green. I'm going to also add a colorless filter on this so I can find some colorless cards as well. Here's my treasure map. I can scry for 1 colorless mana and draw a card after it transforms. I'm going to save that for later. I might be using that. Okay, so before I do that, I want to go back to the Enrage. Let me see if I can find something that has Enrage. So it doesn't look like anything I have controls or is activated by Enrage. So if I do Unowned, let's see what else there is out there. Because once again, you're only searching for what you have unless you change the filter to say Unowned. So let's look and see if there's anything else in here. I'm probably going to want one of those. That looks pretty nice. I've already got one in there, don't I? Yes, because the green means that it's in there, it's collected, and in deck. If it were blue, that would mean it's collected, but it's not in my deck. So let's see if I'm searching for every type. If there's nothing selected, it's searching for everything. And if there's nothing selected in the rarity, it's searching for everything. So it doesn't look like there are any... let's see if I can find something that when it's dealt damage. One damage to target creature. Okay, so that might be nice because if I've got some activated abilities that give my +1s when I take damage, if I give my own damage and trample, and I get to draw a card for 1 mana, that's not bad. So I'm going to go ahead and add one of those, and since this is a common, I do have a common wild card. I'm going to go ahead and confirm that, and add another one of those to my deck. So right now, I am balanced at 12-12, Mountain and Forest. I've got 9 slots left in this deck. Of course, I'm going to want some Lightning Strikes. That is always a safe bet to have in your deck, and I will definitely not complain about using another wild card for a Lightning Strike. Whenever an opponent activates an ability, an artifact, creature, or land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player. I would use Fling, but I really don't want to start sacrificing dinosaurs. If I had a smaller, more aggro deck, I might start using Fling for maybe some goblins or some vampires, something smaller. But I really don't want to start using sacrifice on a large dinosaur. So I'm going to shy away from that one. Maybe if we do another deck later. Target creature. Deals 1 damage to enchanted creature. Okay, so also that kind of idea is good too. Any target. It's kind of like a lightning bolt, but it costs a little bit more. It does not bother me at all. Like, once again, I'm not finding anything that gives an ability for a damage creature. So what I'm doing is just trying to find things that will cause damage for low cost. Shake the Foundations deals 1 damage to each creature without flying and draw a card. I don't have any abilities that give flying. I'm going to shy away from that. That might be good if I were doing like a dinosaur vampire deck. That might be interesting. But I'm not going to be using that for now. 5 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Not really what I'm looking for. All creatures lose indestructible at end of turn. Hour of Devastation deals 5 damage to each creature and each non-bolus planeswalker. So Nicol Bolas is going to come in and knock people out. I don't really care for that right now. And I'm not going to be adding any planeswalkers to this deck. But that's personal preference. Destroy target land. Star of Extinction deals 20 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. I'm sure you are aware of that card. I'm not going to be putting that in this deck, however. Whenever Suncrown Hunters deals damage, is dealt damage. It deals 3 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. Once again, I'm not really looking for that. I'm going to look for something that will help me get some land out there, because I'm worried that with these large creatures, I'm going to have a difficulty getting some land out there. So instead, I'm going to search, filter by land, owned and unowned, for colorless green and red. So I'll be getting course, I'm going to want a green-red Timber Gorge. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that will also take out 4 of those. So it took away 2 of those each, which is good. Once again, these auto-balanced mana decks are helpful. I'm also looking for an Evolving Wilds. I'm going to put in, I would say 2. I don't want to take too many of those away. Because if I'm running low on green and I have a lot of red, and I don't have those Timber Gorges out there, I'm going to want an Evolving Wilds to go fetch one of those. And I won't use any control lands. Alright, so I've got 5 more slots left. Ascend. A lot of you out there are probably yelling at me for what I should be getting, what I should need, all that kind of stuff. I don't claim to be an expert on deck building. However, I do know my style, and my style, it may not win tournaments, but it is my style, and I do enjoy the decks that I build. I'm looking for Hush Up Oasis might be good for this one. Creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. I might be using that. So I'll add 2 of those in there. And that also took away 2 more of my lands here. So I've got 8 mountain and 8 forests, 4 Timber Gorge, and 2 Hush Up Oasis. So I might want to find some more reds. Looking. Unclaimed Territory will be a good addition to this deck. Once again, it's balancing my mana out automatically. So I've still stayed at 55 even though I've added 5 or 6 cards. Let's see if there's anything in here. Before I do this, I need to unfilter for lands. Search for a hatchling. I seem to remember there would be a card that I was going to use. Cast Dinosaur Spell this turn as though they had flash. Whenever you cast a Dinosaur Spell this turn, it gains. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may have to fight another creature. That would go nicely with the deal 1 damage, because then I could deal 1 damage and cast something as flash. That's an uncommon. I've only got 1 of those left. I don't know if it's that worth it for me. My commons are 6, but my uncommons are 1. I'm going to shy away from that one. Let's see if I can do +1, +1. That might be nice to be able to throw on a dinosaur. I'll add those in there. Don't want to do merfolk. I do want dinosaurs. I don't have any explorers in this deck. I do like my explorer deck though, my Exploradora you might have seen in my list. There's a previous video where I feature that gameplay, so you might want to check that one out if you're interested. My enchantment Aura Cartouche. I will also add 2 of those, and I've got 1 more slot. And this is where it starts to get stressful because you may or may not know exactly which cards you want. So when you start finding that last card, you want it to count. For instance, 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature. And of course, you see the picture, it implies dinosaurs are the target for this. That looks pretty good for me. That's a good... You may or may not be yelling at me now for something that I missed that was important or vital to have in a dinosaur deck. And if those cards are coming to mind, please share those with me in the comments. I will make sure and fix this deck. One of the great things about Magic is that it's always changing, so I'm not going to be upset if you tell me I missed something or forgot something, but I do not have every card in the sets memorized yet. So you'll have to forgive me for that. I'm not great at naming stuff, but I do enjoy a fun little name here. And I'm going to add a picture. I like to choose my thumbnails for the decks to make it a little more memorable for me, so I know which one I'm looking for. So I'm looking for something that kind of gives me a good idea of what this deck is about. Raging Swordtooth is a good one. So I'll drag this up here to the thumbnail. That changes it. And then when I click done, I will have saved a complete deck. As you noticed, as I was adding those lands, it was not adding or subtracting from my previously totaled cards, because it was balancing out my mana. So I was able to add a bunch more without losing my mana count because I was adding certain types of lands. So if you've never used a digital interface like this, I recommend checking out Tapped Out website. That is a great place to go. It gives you can use anything from any Magic set ever, including banned cards. You can create proxies of your own for physical gameplay. So I recommend that. It also gives you a better detail of your mana curve than what you might find on Magic the Gathering Arena. Please keep in mind that Magic the Gathering, right now, the arena is in beta still. So there are a lot of features that may go away, they may change. I have had my decks reset and had to rebuild, so I do recommend that you export your decks so that you can save them for later. So I've got and I'm just realizing I don't see the deck that I just made. Old as dirt. Let's see if it goes back to here. Go back to decks. Maybe it's in there. Maybe there is a limit on how many you can have. You saw me save it. You saw me put it in here. Once again, I'm not going to be super upset about it because this is a beta and I know that things happen. However, it is frustrating to lose a deck you've just spent time on. So I would recommend that you save your progress frequently as you're going through this process. And if you see that your decks have not been saved, just be patient. Once again, you know what you're signing up for when you sign up for a beta release, and features may come and go, abilities may come and go, server connection may come and go. It's just part of the whole process. So let's see if something in here, maybe there is a limit to how many you can have. So I may go through and delete some of these later because I'm probably not going to be using sealed packs. I prefer to make, there it is. So, okay, I am happy now. There's my Old as Dirt. I want to select it once again, make sure it registers. Okay, it's not working too much here. Old as Dirt's there. Let's go home. Once again, be patient with the process as you try and try and try. hopefully you are experienced doing a beta test to know. There we go. You are experienced with beta test enough to know that patience is key anytime you're dealing with an unfinished product. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to click to match this deck that I've just built against a random competitor. So when I click play, it will try to find me a match, provided I'm connected to the server and not having connection issues, which I have been having today, so I'm not going to be upset if I can't get this connect. I'm having some connection issues today, and it may be that the server is down, but I'm going to give this a second to register, give me an option to play. Just waiting for this to register here. Let's see if I can go back through and edit. Sometimes just backing in and out can help. So I want to, did I export that already? Did you see me do that? Clipboard, okay. So I'll go into Excel and paste that in a minute. Seem to be having some connection issues. Maybe it doesn't like my deck. Let's see if I can go back and do my other custom deck. Let's go home. Let's play. Let's select a deck. It's really not liking this. Let's see if it'll do its own deck. Yeah, we're having some issues with the beta today, so at least I got through the main point of this video, which was to build a deck. If you are new to building a deck, you're going to have to find your own personality when it comes to designing the cards that go together, designing the mechanics that you wish to include. I recommend building more decks than you think you might need. Great thing about this collection on here is that just because you use a card in one deck does not mean that you can't use it in another. So you can duplicate the cards in as many decks as you need, which is much, much different from the physical gameplay in real life. Because once you use a deck, or once you use a card in your deck, you are not going to want to go back to that deck and take that card out and put it in another pile just to use it again, especially if it's a legendary, mythic, something expensive. You don't want to be buying 16 copies to put into 4 different decks to have a playset. So just be aware that this digital interface is going to be much better for you as far as being able to utilize your cards to their highest extent. I'm going to go ahead and remove some of these. I do not have any interest in playing any of these pre-sealed decks. I like making my own, and these cards will be in my collection, but they will not be compiled in a deck. So I'm not worried about losing them at all. I'm just trying to clean up this interface a little bit. Seems like it's taken a minute to register to the server, that I've deleted a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video for today, see if I can figure out my connection issues. Please check out my other videos that I've posted on my channel on Twitch, and check me out on YouTube. and also on Twitter, but I'll just be using that to update you on when I post a video. So if you have any suggestions on content or questions that you need answered, please let me know, and I will do my best to answer it for you. Check me out Twitch as tjulian9.